New York is the world's biggest cannabis consumer, and there's a lot of opportunity across the entire supply chain. With 8 different cannabis licenses here in New York, how do you know which one you need? Hi, I'm Dr. Sherry Boudram, CEO and co-founder of CannDelta. We're America's #1 cannabis consulting firm located right here in Manhattan. We've been helping folks all over the state who want to get their license and start a cannabis business. New York legalized cannabis for recreational use in 2021 and finally opened their first application window in December 2023.
Recreational marijuana now legal in New York after an historic vote in Albany and the governor's signature.
This video will provide an overview of every New York cannabis license, getting started in the application process, and more. As I mentioned before, there are 8 different cannabis licenses in New York: the Dispensary, Micro Business, Cultivation, Processing, Consumption Lounge, Delivery, Distribution, and Nursery licenses. Each of these licenses is different, and you'll need at least one of them to start a cannabis business. Here's what each one will let you do. Dispensary. With a dispensary license, you'll be able to open a retail storefront and sell cannabis for adults over the age of 21. This is the license most people are after. If you already own a smoke shop or any other retail store in New York, you're at an advantage when it comes to opening a dispensary, since you already have great experience. Be sure to reach out to CannDelta for any licensing, operational, and marketing support. Micro business. The micro business license lets you do a number of different things, just on a smaller scale. You'll be able to cultivate, process, distribute, deliver, and sell cannabis out of your own storefront. So if you want to make your own cannabis strains or products and sell them, you'll need a micro business license. Think of this license as you would a microbrewery that brews its own beer and sells it right there at the brewery. Cultivation. You'll need a cultivation license if you want to open a facility that grows, trims, harvests, dries, and cures cannabis for the adult use market. Before you apply for this license, spend some time thinking about the size and scale you want your operations to be, since you'll need to specify whether you'll be growing cannabis outside, inside, or both. Every cultivation license falls into a specific tier category that determines the scale and cost of your cannabis operation. You can find all those details at CannDelta.com. Processing. Processing license is for people who want to have their own cannabis brand and products. There are 3 different types of processor licenses: Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3. The Type 1 license lets you operate a facility where you can extract, blend, infuse, package, label, and brand cannabis products. You can make edibles, beverages, and a ton of other cannabis products. The Type 2 processing license is for you if you want to create your own cannabis products and brand, but you don't want to actually extract. Instead, you can get extracts from a Type 1 processor and use those to infuse your products. The Type 3 license lets you white label products manufactured by a Type 1 or Type 2 processor. You should get a Type 3 license if you want to start a cannabis brand without having to manufacture the products yourself. You can find all the specifics at CannDelta.com. Consumption Lounge. Consumption lounges are a very unique cannabis business model that gives you the chance to open a space where cannabis can be purchased and consumed in a designated area. You could think of consumption lounges like a bar, where a dispensary would be like a liquor store. The cool part about this license is that you can add cannabis sale and consumption to your pre-existing business. For example, you could have a concert hall or a comedy club or some other kind of venue and pair it with this license. Delivery. By getting a delivery license, you'll be able to start a business that solely delivers cannabis products directly to consumers. Think about a food delivery service, but for cannabis. So consumers will be able to order cannabis from a retailer, and then your business will make the delivery. Distribution. The distribution license lets you transport bulk or wholesale cannabis between licensed facilities. For example, a cultivation facility will need to send plant material to a processor, and they'll need a distributor to transport the cannabis. If you have a warehouse or an existing logistics or distribution service, this license is a great way to expand your current business. Nursery. A nursery license allows you to produce clones, young plants, seeds, and other products which can be sold to cultivators and micro-businesses for growing cannabis. This license is great if you already have an existing nursery, farm, or garden center. There are some restrictions on what licenses you can have simultaneously. For example, you can have a dispensary license and a delivery license together, but you can't have a financial interest in a cultivation, distribution, or processing business. So if you're thinking about starting multiple different cannabis businesses, be sure to check out the CannDelta website for more information about vertical integration. Once you've decided what kind of license you want to apply for, you'll need to make sure you have a plan for funding this venture and begin working on the application. Every New York license application costs $1,000, but the licensing fees are usually around $7,000 or more depending on the kind of license. But keep in mind, these are just the regulator's fee. The full cost of starting a cannabis business is much higher, ranging into the hundreds of thousands. This cost includes your lease, the build-out of the site or facility, equipment, inventory, security, staffing, consulting, and more. Applying for a license. The application process can be long and complicated since you'll need to gather a lot of different information and documents like a capitalization table, business continuity plan, business formation documents, a list of partners, lenders, investors, notice to municipality, and much more. You'll also need to set up your New York Business Express web portal since that's where you'll need to submit most of the documents. Keep in mind that you'll also need to find a compliant location that meets New York setback distance requirements. Whether you'll need a location before or after you apply depends on the type of license you're applying for. And when you're searching for a location, be sure to use the OCM's proximity tool and double check that your site isn't within the setback distances displayed on the screen. Post-licensing. Once you've locked down a license, you'll need to go through the post-licensing process. At this point, if you aren't already occupying a compliant location, you'll need to find one ASAP, so you can start on your build-out. In the meantime, you'll need to work on SOPs, security plans, a business plan, employee handbooks, environmental plans, and other extensive documents and procedures that the OCM will be looking for once your site is up and running. And before you open your doors to the public and begin operating, you'll need to pass your final inspection. Make sure your site is ready to be opened by the time you schedule your inspection, because failing your inspection will only result in further delays, which means you'll be paying rent while losing out on profits. As you can see, there are a lot of different cannabis licenses that you can get in New York, all of which make up the entire adult use supply chain. So if you're interested in joining the industry, you'll want to think about your goals and what it is you want to do. But you'll also want to consider your expertise and past experience. If you're someone who has retail experience or maybe even already owns a store, getting a dispensary license is a no-brainer. On the other hand, it may be a bit more difficult to start up a processing facility with little to no knowledge about the plant or the science behind it all. CannDelta can help you get the greatest return on your investment by accelerating the licensing process and shortening the time it takes to open your doors. Reach out to our licensing experts today for New York's best cannabis business support. And I'm Dr. Cherry Boudram, signing off.